Hey, Vols fans, welcome to another episode of Tennessee Fan Talk, your Vols. Who would have thought at the beginning of the season, guys, serious question here, beginning of the season, if I would have said, hey, how do you feel about 9-1 after Alabama and after the meat of the schedule? How happy would you be?
Considering the first Vols quarterback I can ever remember watching was Andy Kelly, I'd say I'll take it.
I would give my left toe. I would have gave my left toe. Kid show here.
We picked him at the beginning of the season. At least I did. I'll have to go back to see what old the Duke did. But
I probably had him at 8-4.
I said 10-2 or 9-3.
I had him at 9-3.
So
I probably had him at 8-4. I know I had him losing to Alabama, Florida, Georgia, LSU, and I said we'd win out other than that. Hey, and I told you I do that on purpose for my psyche.
I know you do. We've got a guest, in case you didn't notice. So we're gonna bring everyone in, do some intros right after our intro. Get on in here. It's Tennessee Fan Talk.
Hey, Vols fans, welcome to Tennessee Fan Talk, the show that is by Tennessee fans for Tennessee fans and your source for hilarious weekly updates on everything Volunteers. And now for the moment you've been waiting all week for, here is Byrd and the Duke.
All right, guys, we've got, did I get it right that time? No, dang it. It's because I swapped us around. We got the Duke at Brad Rush on the Twitter. We got Tim down below, special guest joining in. Thank you so much, Tim, for joining in.
Thank you,
Byrd,
Tim.
Instagram at Brandon Byrd TN, and follow the show at TN Fan Talk. Wherever you are, we are, and it's all the same. Makes it real easy. Thank goodness YouTube finally added in handlers. Took forever instead of youtube.com/.
You mean handles?
Handles, what'd I say?
You mean
handlers?
Oh, no. I belong to YouTube. They are my handlers. No, I said it right. The amount of time I spend into this, they have a very firm handle on my time. Come on now. The YouTube, the Instagram. You got to go with my age or my Amish beard.
The Twitter, the Facebook. The OnlyFans.
Oh no! There he goes. There he goes. Tennessee 66, putting it up against Missouri, only allowing 24, which was basically all first half points for Mizzou. I love the end of the game. Old Coach Rick Neuhauser, which I listen to him every day on Full Ride, and he stayed in Knoxville thus far throughout the day and had a media day at Calhoun's today. But end of the game, when he was talking about the disrespect by Tennessee going for those late points, it's like, come on, dude. A, we're trying to break a record. B, we got players out there that are still trying to prove themselves and play. And look, after what Eli Drinkowitz had against us, beef against us at the beginning of the season, he deserved it.
No, I agree. Coming from a guy that always played on the second string, I mean, heck, when I went in there, I was either trying to get an interception or sack a quarterback.
Right. You ain't in there
or get a personal foul, get you an unsportsmanlike lay hit or something like that, right?
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I'd have been doing.
What you get to play 5 minutes of the game?
Mm-hmm. It's time to crack some heads. You've done stood on the side too long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See, the way I look at it is how much confidence did that one catch get to Squirrel White for moving forward? I mean, that's a big play, right? I mean, just that one little thing can push a guy and just keep him going or get him motivated or whatever.
By the thump from Milton.
Yeah, I mean, so you talk about somebody that probably needs a little bit of confidence booster going next year, some big shoes to fill.
Yes.
He came in as a starter, lost the job once. Now he's get a second chance. I mean, what could that one play do? And the way I look at it, it doesn't look big, but in the big scheme of things,
Nico right behind him, ready to take his spot.
So he's got to do whatever it takes to keep that job. And then when he gets the chance, he's got to show out, and he hasn't had the chance all year. That's how I look at it.
That's right.
Well, I'll tell you something else it does too. All these teams out here that are thinking that it's going to drop off when Hooker comes in or when Hooker goes out, you know, you got a guy out there throwing 60 and 70-yard touchdown passes right behind him. Hey, you know.
That's right. That's right.
I bet my man could hit 98 on the bump easy.
Oh, they were talking about, Newhouse was talking about how he was throwing them, you know, from the 20-yard line through the uprights during
Let's just hope he turns out better than Jamarcus Russell.
Oh.
Well, my God.
Jamarcus Russell could do the same thing.
My God, and if you paid attention, that one he threw that about went for a touchdown, he was dang near standing flat-footed when he threw that ball.
He didn't even hop.
That dude could flick it 50. So,
and he's big as a freaking tank too.
He is.
I mean, when he lowered his shoulder on that guy, you know, and
if
crap
they
like
could teach
that,
him a little finesse on his running, come on now.
I get that, but sometimes you just gotta let a corner or safety know what you're about.
No, I agree.
I mean, I wouldn't suggest
Tim
doing
Tebow
that to
a little bit.
I wouldn't suggest doing that to an all SEC linebacker or anything like that.
Yeah,
but,
no,
you know, sometimes you gotta let a safety know that if I get through this front seven, you're in trouble. I'm gonna run over you.
Let me show you the definition of lowering the helmet. Tennessee with 33 first downs. That's a season high for them. Only allowing 16. The big news is the total offensive yards of 724, breaking a school record, allowing 389, which the game didn't even look like they allowed that much, but okay. Mizzou could not. Right. They couldn't stay out of the penalties. 14 for 120 yards. Tennessee still needed to clean it up a little bit. 8 for 59 yards. We only punted twice, which is just that's our MO. You know, had the ball for 26 minutes. Mizzou had it 34. Third down conversions, guys, still not happy with that. 4 of 11, 1 for 3 on fourth. But as we mentioned a little in the pre-show, that red zone, 100.
Perfect.
That's
7
where
over
it counts.
7. 7 over 7. Perfect. 2 sacks for 12 yards. Doing I feel like we could have got in a little bit more on him, and it's going to give South Carolina a little bit of game tape to look at. I don't know if Spencer Rattler's as mobile as Cook.
I think it's probably equal. I thought that Spencer Rattler was known for his being able to be that mobile, but I didn't think Cook was, and Cook was surprising for a white boy. You know what I'm saying?
And he's only going to get better. He's young. He's only going to get better. And
I think he's going to be good. Me personally, I think he's going to be good.
7 tackles for loss, 22 yards, which was greater than Mizzou's 6 for 15. So not horrible on the tackles for loss. With the attempt 7 yardage, we've done better, but still, hey, every tackle counts.
Yep. Count every tackle.
Anything you see, I love when you go diving into individual quarterback stats, and you see Milton, 3 attempts, 3 completions for 105 yards.
Pretty good.
What was it? Somebody was saying the other day he had like 3 or 5 yards less than Will Levis had on the whole day.
I saw that. I think Will Levis had 109 yards at like 29 or 30 attempts. I could bring it up real quick for you if you'd like me to. Hold on. I'll get you the stats. Hold on.
Will Levis 11 for 23, 109 yards and an interception.
That's yep.
Yeah.
You can't make that stuff up, man.
I mean, the quarterback for Vanderbilt, who I didn't know they had a quarterback, was 12 for 23.
Mark Wright he's good.
It's a joke, Byrd. It's Vanderbilt. It's a joke.
It's, you know.
I thought they always trotted punters out there in every position.
I think that
there's only one Pat McAfee.
So
that,
go ahead, Byrd.
No,
you go ahead. I don't know if mine's gonna make sense. You go ahead.
Oh Lord, a joke of yours not make sense.
Well, it's got to be at the right time. Go ahead.
I was gonna go around the SEC a little bit and then get back to
Oh, no. Okay, so
see?
mine will fit then.
See?
So I was watching YouTube Sunday, and I heard from Mr. Football from the state of Alabama himself, Paul Fibaum, say that Eli Drinkowitz just got a 3-year extension, and he hasn't won a game since he's re-signed. Who's that sound like? Sound like Jeremy Pruitt to me.
Old cornbread.
I mean, Eli Drinkowitz just has like the most punchable face out of all the coaching staff.
You know,
in the SEC.
I watched the game just before recording this evening, and I look at him and go, you know, he just looks like a really nice guy.
he tithes on Sundays. What you're saying? He puts money in the offering plate on Sunday. He puts money.
I think he plays Scrabble with his grandmother after church on Sunday.
Dominoes. Plays dominoes. Takes her to the bingo hall on Tuesday nights.
And she's smacking the table. Dominoes going everywhere. Damn it, boy! Why can't you get more aggressive on the field?
Eli, I need you to go out there to Lincoln and get my other pack of cigarettes. I smoked through all my Pall Malls. I need another pack.
Oh.
Granny, all I could find you was Bristol's.
Oh, yeah, you last name of Drinkowitz. I could go either way. Well, I won't go there.
Yeah, keep it moving. You don't tempt me.
Well, I'll tell you
don't
what.
Tempt me with a good time. Keep it moving.
He ain't no Bobby Hill, though.
I finally showed someone that the other day that didn't know. They're like,
Bobby,
oh, my God.
Man, how does that feel? Go out there and get 60 hung on you by Bobby Hill. I'm the first person that will, you know, I got into an argument with a fellow the other day, and I generally don't get in arguments about this stuff with people. But it finally come to a point to where I had to say, son, you are too young to remember, but I remember when Georgia was the crap that Al Wilson and Peyton Manning cleaned out of their cleats on the way to the postseason.
Yep.
Except for that 1 year for the hobnail boot.
And guess what? What goes around comes around.
Mm-hmm.
I've been living long enough to see this cycle come around.
When you go, I remember when y'all were like, kind of like, you know, Mizzou.
Yeah, and I lived through the bad years, and guess what? I hope I get to live through some good years. It was the night of the Alabama game, and you know, my son, he's 10 years old, loves Tennessee, football, basketball, baseball, whatever. He's just a sporty kid.
Daddy raised him right. That's what I gotta say.
And I was sitting there watching that Alabama game, which he was actually in Maryland with his grandmother. And he called me like I was still jumping around the house, and I looked down, my phone's ringing, it's him. And I thought, man, this is the first time that he's ever seen Tennessee beat Alabama. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he got to see that, you know, just is crazy. You know, I took him to Neyland for his first time last year to the Vandy game, and to see that through his eyes, and you know, to see that through his eyes and stuff like that, and I'm glad that this team's. Well, we got us football coach, guys. I mean,
we did. Well, let's just hope we haven't turned into a pass through. Let's just hope we are still a destination job, not a pass through to a destination like we have been.
I'm gonna tell you, and of course I could be 100% wrong, but there's something about like after that, and I'll go back even further. That Ole Miss game last year was where I kind of looked at Josh Heupel and said, he's all in.
This is it. Yep.
Because he could have trashed the fan base. He could have trashed the fan base over what happened, but he looked at it and he said, you know what? For everything that happened, that environment was something I've never been a part of before, and I love it.
Yep. Come on,
I mean, I can say you've never had that. I've never had that feeling. Like, obviously, I was towards the end. I mean, I was 10 when we won the national championship. So I mean, I remember that pretty vividly. But then when we let Philip Fulmer go, which in my opinion was probably a little too early, but neither near here nor there. Then they hired Lane Kiffin, and he just didn't feel like the guy. Then they hired Butch Jones, and you're like, he doesn't feel like the guy.
No.
And then you got Jeremy Pruitt. Which at first he's like maybe, but then he's like, you can just tell he's not the guy.
Right.
Like, I think you get that feeling. Now the only thing is that's a scary feeling to have too. It's like going into getting a relationship with someone. Like, you're getting those feelings like they love you back. You know, I'm kind of like they can always play you.
I've heard people say this about Butch Jones, and I tend to agree with them. Butch was almost there. He was never comfortable with himself.
Right.
Josh Heupel is he is completely comfortable with who he is. He knows what he's about. He brings this style of play that, let's face it, it's unlike anything I've ever seen in football. I mean, the pace that they run, and it's almost, when you look at it, it's a hybrid style of playing from a read option to that, and it's but he's comfortable with it, but I think he's in a place that's going to allow him to do that because it's getting results, guys. I mean,
Yep.
I picked 9-3 this year because I will never take a loss to Kentucky. I just was not saying that.
Go ahead.
So I picked 9-3.
There's three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and the University of Tennessee football team beats the Wildcats. That's guaranteed.
You know, I will never pick against that. But everything has transpired this year, and the way they've done it's been decisive. You had the one mishap at Georgia, which Georgia's the best football team in the country.
That was expected, in my humble opinion. That was expected.
I didn't expect us necessarily to win that game. I thought it was going to be closer than that.
Yeah.
But when you get right down to it, we lost by 2 touchdowns. And I hear all the talk about, Georgia took their foot off the gas. They did this, they did that, and the other. They could have run it up. Well, guess what? They didn't run it up.
Yep.
And I'm
You know who would have ran it up?
Josh Heupel.
You know who would have run it up? Josh Heupel would have run it up, by God.
But I'm half inclined to believe this, and maybe I'm just looking at it through orange-colored glasses, and that's fine. I'm a Tennessee fan. I'll look through them if I darn well want to. But Kirby slowed that pace down. It wasn't just because of the weather. Right. He did not want that offense to get going because Kirby has enough sense to respect that Tennessee offense.
Right.
And that's what makes him an awesome coach, guys.
Yep. He says, I got to keep it out of their hands as long as I possibly can. One quick word on, Butch Jones. My thought on that is he was a great used car salesman, get you in the door, sell you a car. Couldn't tell you how to fix it though.
Oh.
And speaking of good picks, somewhere in there you had talked about picks, and it was like, segue. What about Duke's picks last week? Oh my goodness,
were they that bad?
No. I should have gone to the bank and put some money in MGM
on them money lines. On
them money lines, and we're waiting maybe till next week, and then we get to put down there in the bottom corner over there, presented by MGM, because your boy here is a used car salesman.
Hey,
let's talk about this round the SEC right after a little ad break for some revenue. All right, guys, welcome back. We got around the SEC, or as I like to call it, Duke's fantastic picks from Week 11. LSU barely hanging on to beat Arkansas 13-10. Your pick on that, we won't go that one was not your best pick. You said 42-17. I said 35-10.
I didn't know it was going to be colder than a well digger's ass in Butte, Montana on Saturday down there either. That would have played a big difference.
Vanderbilt 24 beating somehow still ranked Kentucky. I have no. How do you lose 3 SEC games in a row or a roundabout in a row?
Will Levis. That's how
ranked. That's just crazy.
At one point I thought
we both picked Kentucky in that game. I mean, who wouldn't? Of course.
What I was going to say is I first thought the biggest frauds in the SEC were Arkansas. They're second to Will Levis. He's the biggest fraud, maybe in the nation.
Alabama,
possibly in the nation, the biggest fraud.
You had it 42-28, so we're warming up. You had Florida, which turned out to be 38-6. You had 35-10 Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Cutting it close there. Georgia, Ole Miss, game was 45-19. You picked
You mean Mississippi
52-17. I mean, I'm sorry, I said Ole Miss. Mississippi State, 45-19. You said 52-17. Last, certainly not lit. Well, kind of least. Snooze Fest of the week, which turned out to be a fun game. And your boy Cadillac was just, everyone stayed. He's running around the field. He was loving it. And if that, I don't know about him as a head coach, but as far as in on-field booster and hype man, you got to keep him, even if he's not.
They need to put him in the deep booth like they did.
You got to keep him. A&M 10, Auburn 13. The Dukes pick Auburn 13-10.
Ooh, right on
the money. That is what you.
But you can't go back to the very first episode of the season when I said that A&M is going to go undefeated. I did say that.
You did. Hand up. You did. So did Luke. Luke said it too.
Yeah, no, but Luke's a Florida
So
fan.
to pick an exact score, well, I would have loved to seen the odds on a 13-10 pick.
I could have probably put $10 down and walked out there with quite a bit of money.
Yeah, I would say so. I wonder if there's a way to go back and look at that. I have to reach out to my new friends at BetMGM.
Okay.
That has to come out every third sentence, FYI. So
you're like
BetMGM.
But yeah.
You like Ricky Bobby with Powerade. Thanks to a
Fig Newtons. He's like, this sticker's very inconvenient, but I do love Fig Newtons.
Thanks to a binding endorsement contract that says that I mentioned Powerade at every grace.
I think I'm going to go buy a Taco Bell just so I could go, come on, kids, I've been slaving over this for hours.
I do that to my kids all the time when I bring home pizza.
You know how long it took? I had to get the yeast, and this thing's been sitting out, and all that jazz.
And thank you, Powerade, for bringing out your new blue raspberry. Woo!
Quite delicious.
Or I think it's Arctic blue raspberry. I can't remember why he says it.
Whatever.
Mystic Mountain Blueberry.
There it is.
Oh, that's what. Golly, my man is Rain Man on the movie quotes. I enjoy it. I like it.
You got it. I find that a perfect time to close this week 11 SEC schedule and tune in later this week. Check out the week 12. We're going to highlight a whole slew of games. Most of them don't mean crap.
Don't go off my picks this week, kids. Let's just be honest. There's some ones I'm going to go with that you don't need to go with.
I know which one he's going to go with. Most important, Tennessee, South Carolina. We'll talk about it in the second episode of this week. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to follow us if you haven't already on the YouTube down below.
The YouTube.
Click that subscribe. Click the bell. Go Vols.
Love you, mean it.